Hey guys, Paul here. Welcome to RDTV. Thank you very much for tuning in, as always, to today's Talk and Drive video. We're doing another one of the upcoming rFactor 2 DLC cars in Automobilista. We've got the MCR Sports 2000. We're racing at Gt3, I believe it's pronounced, and we're going to have a little go in the car, like we did recently in the Formula V, to see what we are looking forward to and hoping to receive when this Reiza Bundle DLC arrives in rFactor 2 in the very near future. So without further ado, let's go to the track and let's have some MCR Sports 2000 fun at Gt3. I think you pronounce it Gt3. I hope that's the right pronunciation, but our Brazilian community members will no doubt put me right before too long, hopefully. So, this is one of the cars and tracks that are expected to be coming as part of the Reiza Bundle DLC for rFactor 2 sometime in early 2019. The pack's been a little delayed. It was hopefully going to have been coming out in and around December 2018, but for various reasons, not least of which is the fact both Reiza of Automobilista fame and Studio 397 of rFactor 2 have been very busy indeed with new content, so things have been delayed slightly and it's dropped out to early 2019, so hopefully we should be seeing that in rFactor 2 before too long. And as I say, this is just one of the cars and tracks that will form part of that Reiza Bundle DLC. We've already driven the Formula V and we've looked at Iberra, which is the other circuit. So we're going to drive this now, which is, as I say, the MCR Sports 2000 lightweight, reasonably decent horsepower, prototype style clubman race car. First thing you'll see when you look at this, no doubt, if you know your club level motor racing, is it looks suspiciously like a Radical SR4. And you'd probably not be a million miles away from wrong if that's what you assumed. It is a very similar style racing car. It's open topped, obviously, you can tell that because, well, there's no roof. It's lightweight, it's a prototype style car, and as such it offers some really nice close racing opportunities. There's a bit of downforce involved in this car. You can see the massive rear wing on the back of it, but it's not huge downforce. It's not a dramatically downforce dependent vehicle, so as such you can follow other cars pretty closely and you can have yourself some good solid side-by-side racing action. As you can see, many of the AI that we're racing against are already engaging in, and I'm getting stuck into this little party as well. And that's helped actually by this track. Gt3, I'm not sure how you pronounce it to be honest, is an excellent racetrack. It's really good for encouraging tight racing, and I think this is a dynamite decision by Reiza to make this one of the two tracks that's coming to rFactor 2. And mixed in with cars like this, where you can get sideways quite easily and you can follow another car quite straightforward, it makes for some really good fun racing. And I think this combination, this car and this track, will be very popular in rF2 when it does eventually release for the sim. As I say, hopefully sometime in the not too distant future. It should have been, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it should ideally have been out at the back end of 2018. But as we now know, both Reiza and Studio 397 have been very busy. Have been very busy with their own DLC and car releases. Reiza for Automobilista have put together an unexpected update to the sim. That's come, I got rear-ended a bit there, but we got away with it. I've been busy putting together an unexpected update to a sim we all thought had ended its development life cycle, and as part of that update Reiza brought a new manufacturer license to the game. They brought Puma automobiles, and with it 4 new cars, some historic, some modern, and a road goer. So that one's kept Reiza pretty busy in terms of work between when this here Reiza Bundle DLC for rFactor 2 was announced, and then the Christmas and New Year celebrations as well. And rFactor Studio 397 arguably have been even busier, as they've brought out their Gt3 Challengers Dlc, which has brought, or is bringing should I say, 5 new really high profile Gt3 licenses to the sim. So we've had 4 of those already. We've had the Porsche 911 GT3R, we've had the McLaren 720S GT3, the BMW M6 GT. Oops, there's a bit of a barrier. There's a sign there in the middle of the road. The BMW M6 GT3, and the Audi R8 LMS GT3 as well, with the Aston Martin Vantage due to drop for the sim once it's reached the approvals process with Aston Martin themselves. So in that regard, Studio 397 have been pretty busy with their own plans as well, which could go some way as to explaining why there's been the delay in getting this Reiza DLC out for the simulation. But fear not, good things come to those who wait, as they often say, and I reckon this is going to be good things indeed. The cars, they're an interesting selection. There's the Formula V, which is a very popular, very low-powered, training level open wheeler that we've already covered in a previous Talk and Drive video. So that's something that'll be very, very interesting to see how that develops in rFactor 2. It's a kind of class of car that we've not really got much of in Sector 3 in Studio 397's flagship sim. So that's a really nice addition. Then you've got these, which are mid-level prototype style spec race cars, which again, these will play quite nicely with the radicals already in rF2. And they make a very good piece of content standalone on their own. Really good racing, they're well put together. They're good in that they're their own unique racing class, so they don't join other cars as part of a larger pack like they do with the GT3s, for example. These are their own category of racing, so it's a new real world class to go to rFactor 2, which is outstanding. And then you've got a couple of different Metal Moros, which are Le Mans style prototype cars, and we'll cover those again in a different video after we've done this one, so we'll look at those in a little more detail as well. So some inspired content choices, I think, by Reiza and Studio 397. They'll all add a little something to the rFactor 2 simulation and will serve as a really good example of the level of quality and work that Reiza Studios are capable of producing, which has got to be one of the drivers for this DLC by Reiza, surely, to put in the shop window what the studio is capable of achieving with an engine, a mighty engine that is the G-motor that powers rFactor 2. So really looking forward to that, really looking forward to trying that selection of cars, using all the goodies that rFactor 2 has available to it, day to night transitions, weather, driver swaps, the real road technology, and some of the wicked tracks that rFactor 2's already got, either as modded content or as Studio 397 created circuits. So that'll be really good as well. But let's see if we can get this guy on the inside. Yes, just about. He's run a bit wide as well. We'll cut off his line. We'll defend because the guy behind him. AI is awesome in Automobilista. You can see there I made the pass on that car, and then the guy that was behind the train held back a little bit, and then seeing if he could take advantage from my misplacement on the track as I was tight, passing the car in front. But we're fending him off in good style, so we're okay. We'll continue our march up the grid. Not quite sure. P17 at the moment, having started from the back. So still got a few more places to go. Not aided by the fact that I'd failed to make a shift then when I was looking to, so we're slow. But we're okay. We're okay. Quite a bumpy track, this one. It looks like I don't know much about Brazilian racetracks, I must admit. It is quite a bumpy circuit, this one, so it's a permanent facility, obviously, as you can see. Looks like a reasonably well maintained permanent facility at that. Not much in the way of safety. No gravel traps you'll see there at the exit of that fast corner, just an unforgiving tyre wall. Don't we love that? That's how they should be. Before the FIA and Herman Tilke got involved and ruined everything. So yeah, quite a bumpy track, quite a fast track actually. There's some reasonably sizable corners, but certainly in a car like this MCR Sports 2000, no massive braking zones to be had. So it's a track more about momentum and keeping it neat and tidy to be quick round here in a car like this. But saying that, there's still overtaking opportunities which we've displayed already in our working our way up to P17 on the grid, and I hope we will display some more as this race unfolds. I'm a fan of this track. I'll be honest, I didn't know it all that well before doing the original video in the Formula V's, but I thought it worth spending a bit of time in it when I did that video, just to get a feel for it in anticipation of the rFactor 2 DLC coming out, so I could do a decent comparable between the two. And I've sort of fallen in love with it since then. Really impressed with this Gt3 circuit. It's fun, but the most important thing from a sim racing point of view, it seems to lend itself to producing good racing. So I'm quite excited about the prospect of taking this one out for a spin in the many excellent cars that are available now in rFactor 2. And I'm even more excited about hopefully one day doing an online race with this track. So I can imagine this when racing against real life people. It's pretty spectacular. So yeah, Gt3, good track. If anything, this Reiza DLC has just introduced me to something that I kind of missed first time round. So for that reason alone, I'm very grateful to the upcoming DLC already, and it's not even out yet. I've not even driven it yet. Looking forward to seeing what the circuit looks like in the rFactor 2 engine. A lot of work's gone on with rFactor 2 these last 12 months to improve the graphical quality of the sim. There's new shaders came out with the recent Gt3 Challengers Dlc. The 4 cars that came as part of the 5 car pack all had the new shaders involved with them, and it looks nice because of it. The graphical improvements in general that rFactor 2 has received over the last 12 months or so are kind of putting the sim into a really nice position now. Okay, it's still got a way to go to match something the likes of Project Cars 2, for example, but compared to where the sim was just 24 months ago or so, it's really stepped on night and day difference and looks very serviceable indeed. In fact, in some weather conditions, in some settings, it looks visually really quite stunning. I've always quite liked rFactor 2's data graphics. I think it's looked more realistic than some of the questionable colour palettes that other sims use within their software. So I'm really interested to see how this content shapes up in rFactor 2, and also how it compares to AMS, which of course is using the core of the original rFactor engine, although frankly the magic that Reiza have done to that engine since taking it over for the original GameStop car Extreme makes it basically unrecognisable from the initial rFactor 1 title from which the game code was derived. So they've pretty much maxed out what this engine can do and how this engine can look. So moving it into its successor, the G-Motor 2.5 engine, it's going to be a real interesting test to see what difference that looks like. I'm hoping and expecting it will be an improvement, but the performance will still remain really good in terms of FPS. So that's something I do like about Automobilista, although funnily enough I've got stutters today for some reason while doing this video, so I hope that doesn't come through too much on the recording. But more often than not, Automobilista runs pretty spectacular really on my rig. FPS is usually very nice indeed, with pretty high graphic settings. So it's something I've really enjoyed about Automobilista, and that's courtesy of both very good work by Reiza Studios to get the title maximised in the performance stakes, and also the age of the game. It's been out for a while now, the engine's pretty well seen into, so they've maximised it as much as they can. It's not the most demanding graphics engine anyway, which means you can run it pretty smooth, pretty high settings under pretty much any game condition, which is cool. Something that I wish was the case with modern racing sims, but sadly just doesn't seem to be. As graphical capabilities improve, technology moves forward, and of course the discerning sim racers' demands for better better looking, more realistic looking games increases pretty much year on year. So that'll be a good comparable, and no doubt when the content comes out I will do a back-to-back comparison video of the two. But for now, that's all future stuff. Now let's get excited about what we see in front of us here, and that's the MCR Sports 2000. It's a nice car. It handles very neutral. It's a very steady, well-planted, very difficult to slide racing car, and that's probably courtesy of that huge back wing that you see in front of you there on those two. So, bit of aerodynamics, sticky to the floor, nothing dramatic, fairly limited options in terms of what you can do to the car to get it race ready. And it's a tailor-made league or club racing online car because of its accessibility. There we go, that's a word. I'd rather use words than noises. Because of its accessibility to drive, because of its fast enough to be fun but slow enough to allow you to race, pace and speed as well. It should be a good one, this. It should be a good addition. The car itself, as you would expect from Reiza Studios and Automobilista, it's been made to a very high standard, so the model, inside and out, all look very tasty indeed. Thank you very much. The audio's pretty decent, and that'll be interesting to see how that transfers into the rFactor 2 audio model. And the force feedback's awesome. Again, as you would expect from AMS, it's a very difficult argument to argue against AMS being one of the finest force feedback solutions in any sim racing game. And if you were to argue that it's not number one, you'd probably be fighting the corner of rFactor 2 for being in that number one spot. So that will be also really interesting to see how that this transfers in rFactor 2, and to see if it's any better, worse, the same or different than the AMS version. Frankly, if it's an exact bog standard copy of the AMS version, I'll be delighted because this feels top drawer. But I reckon using some of the goodies that are available in rFactor 2 and the more advanced tyre model that's currently in rFactor 2 as well, we might find this has been improved upon slightly for the new DLC. So that's something I'm really excited about because I'm a big fan of AMS. I like it a lot. I like the cars a lot. I like the way they feel a lot. And I'm also a huge fan of rFactor 2. Oops, marbles again. I'm also a huge fan of rFactor 2. So I'm ridiculously excited to see what sorts of improvements can be made for these cars for that sim. And that's why this is making Q1 2019 one of the most anticipated periods for me in sim racing for quite a while. So as well as this bundle, DLC bundle, which I hope is the first of more than one. I hope it's not just a one-off. Very keen to see more of this superb content from Reiza Studios go over to rFactor 2. But not only that, but rFactor 2 themselves have some very good plans that we know about already. There's the Aston Martin, as I've mentioned earlier, from the Gt3 pack. We've seen some sneaky preview shots of the Gen 2 FIA Formula E car that's going to be coming to the sim. They've mentioned the Dallara license as well a bit recently, and there's a few series that's coming from that as well. So the Toyota Racing Series, the car used by the upcoming Formula W, which is a female-only open-wheel racing championship. There's a Formula 3 Dallara going to be in there as well, amongst a few other bits and bobs that just escape my memory now. So they're all, again, very exciting piece of content I'm looking forward to. Plus, Studio 397 recently have a tendency of sneaking out things that you don't expect. The Gt3 Challengers pack in its entirety being a perfect example of that. So I'm hoping, because basically the end of 2018 basically belonged to Studio 397, I'm hoping that momentum is going to be carried into 2019 as well. There's the new UI on the horizon that frankly I personally couldn't care the less about when it was first announced. UIs don't get me excited, but the more I'm thinking about it and the more I'm finding some of the limitations in the way rFactor 2 currently is, I'm beginning to get more excited about that UI and the potential of making a much more user-friendly and playable title of rFactor 2 than is currently the case. So that should be quite a big deal as well when that hits the sim, hopefully in the non-too distant future, and certainly sometime earlier rather than later in 2019. So all those things are the things we know about, and I'm sure S397 have got stuff cooking that we don't, so it makes it a very exciting time to be a sim racer. It's certainly an exciting time to be an rFactor 2 fan, and obviously there's things like, we already know they're doing a laser scan Nordschleife, which is the holy grail of racetracks really. So to see a laser scan version of that monstrous green hell within rFactor 2 is very exciting. Can't wait to see what the track artists Studio 397 get up to when they bring in that beast into the sim. So that's another really lovely license acquisition by the studio, and something I'm sure we're all rather excited about having a go at. Although I must admit, and this is probably going to get some grief for saying this, the Nordschleife is not a track I'm particularly bothered about. Awesome venue, absolutely love it, really great driving experience to either go on it in real life or to race it in the virtual world. But in terms of an actual venue for racing, it's crap. It's too big, it's too difficult, it's too dangerous, it's too challenging. So to actually get a semi-decent race out of it, it's too long as well, is often very difficult. I personally am more interested in the battle I'm having against the other cars than I am the driving challenge of the tarmac itself. And don't get me wrong, I love going in the various sims that have got the Nürburgring and doing track day type things and just experiencing the circuit with other people on it at the same time. But if you're wanting to do a quick race, I'd much sooner do the Brands Hatch Grand Prix track or this Giapore circuit any day of the week than do a race round the big old green hell. So for me, it's cool that they're going to have it. It'll be exceptionally good to see what the track feels like in what I consider to be the finest simulator on the market, that is rFactor 2. But it's not actually going to change my world in terms of another new must-race venue, because I dare say I'll probably hardly ever race it, if at all, unless we do the odd club race here at RaceDepartment from time to time. And even then, it's still debatable whether I personally am going to bother racing it, because as I say, it just doesn't generate a good racing experience for me. It's a great lapping track, and it's a great track in every regard, but give me this kind of thing. Give me about 3 miles of tarmac to race on, some fast, some slow corners, some big braking points, some overtaking opportunities, and that's all I need. I want to race. That's all I want to do. I don't want to be hanging on the edge of my seat for dear life and trying not to get too close to people in the little difficult technical sections in the middle of the circuit for fear of me punting them or them punting me off the track. But again, that's all of the future. They announced it in September 2018 at the Sim Racing Expo. At the time, we saw some laser scan shots of the real world venue itself, but because of the size of Studio 397 and the size of the track itself and the level of work required to undertake a project of that significant scale, it's probably going to be a little while yet till we get our hands on the fruits of their labours. Of course, that's not stopping them releasing other tracks. We've had the Botany Ring, I think you call it, I can't remember its name now already. And we've got a couple of new tracks coming as part of this Reiza Pack as well. Hopefully there's a couple of other things on the horizon track-wise from Studio 397 going forward too before we see that one. Because as I've mentioned in previous videos, their version of Sebring for me, their version of Sebring is, excuse me, I had to ditch that, would drive me crazy. Their version of Sebring is for me the finest track in sim racing. So if that's the new standard, if that's the level of quality we can expect to see in future Studio 397 track releases, then bring it on. Get me more of those, please. Thank you very much indeed, because that's awesome. Sebring and the the Gt3 Challengers Dlc combined. Pound for pound, that makes the best virtual racing experience I've ever had, certainly. And it's probably the finest combination of content in all of sim racing there's ever been, in my humble opinion. So if we can have more of that kind of quality going forward, then yeah, I'm a happy boy. That'll suit me down to the ground, thank you very much. And let's see what happens. It's hard to match and or beat those lofty standards that have been reached already, and I think this Reiza Pack will be a darn good thing to fill in some of the time between getting that next piece of content and now, because even if it was just a straight port, from AMS, which it's not, by the way, but even if it was, it'd still be exceptional. So after working some rFactor 2 magic into that as well, I'm superbly excited about these cars. Really am. And I'm excited as well by the fact like this MCR Sport 2000 that we're driving now and the Formula V we drove previously, they're standalone classes, so they don't need more cars to come in and fill the grid. These are standard single make classes, so you can have nice set of liveries created by the community of the Real World Series, and you've got another fully fleshed out championship within rF2, which is wicked. And the Metal Moros that are coming out, the MR19 and the other one whose designation number I can't remember now, they're big prototype type things which should work quite nicely in a multi-class environment with the Gt3, LMP2 and GTE category cars already available in the title. So they've all been well thought out, and they all have a nice place within the current pecking order of content for rFactor 2, which is wicked, which I'm really pleased about and really happy to see, because one of my biggest issues, shall we say, with rFactor 2, both in the original ISI/Image Space Incorporated, whatever you want to call them, days, was the disjointed content that came from the studio. You'd have the odd one car or two cars from a category here and there, but no full packs. And I think ISI relied on the community and the modding scene to plug those missing gaps. And while rFactor 1 was a hugely popular modding platform, it feels like Assetto Corsa stole the thunder from ISI a little bit and became the modder's platform of choice, while rFactor 2, primarily due to a slightly convoluted and complicated packaging process, and B, the enhanced and advanced physics requirements over and above what was in rFactor 1, the modding scene just never quite took off like I think ISI thought and hoped it would, and those gaps never got plugged. Now Studio 397 have come on, they've picked up development of the sim in great style, and they're starting to do what ISI never did and bring quality licensed content to the title that makes sense, sensible licensed content that starts to form proper and full categories, and that's really reassuring. Really happy to hear about that and see that happening. Really excited to see what that means going forward for new and interesting content for the sim. So there you have it, folks. That's pretty much a little taster of the MCR Sports 2000 car and the Ghia circuit that will be coming to rFactor 2, hopefully in the very near future. Certainly I believe Q1 2019, although an exact release date of when that'll be has yet to be revealed by either Studio 397 or Reiza Studios. So watch this space, people, but it may have taken a bit longer than either party would have hoped or the community would have hoped, but I am oh so very confident that that wait will prove to be absolutely well worth it once the cars are released and the tracks are released, because even as they stand now, they're excellent. So moving them into rFactor 2 and everything that entails is going to be a really interesting experiment that I'm looking forward to enjoying the benefits of once it happens. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's been another talk and drive because I'm doing a lot of these at the moment. We will diversify into other things later, I assure you, but for now that's been me rambling on about the MCR Sport 2000 in Automobilista, the future of rFactor 2 and the beautiful Ghia circuit in AMS again. I hope you've enjoyed the video, of course, otherwise what's the point doing it? And if you have, or if you haven't even, please give me a like, subscribe and follow on Twitch where you're watching this now, and YouTube where you'll be able to watch it a little later on. means the world to us. Follower count is pretty much the only way we can judge if we're doing things that you enjoy, and tell the world that we do things that sim racers enjoy. So yeah, please do drop us a like, follow and subscribe there, and also catch us on social media. We're on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram and Facebook, and come say hello to us at RaceDepartment.com. Our main website. We've been around for 12, 13, 14 years now. Got a thriving community. We do news, mods, community chat and discussion, and all other good things real and virtual motor racing. So, sales pitch over. I've been Paul. This has been RDTV. Thanks a bunch for tuning in. Until next time, stay safe. Sim racing's awesome.